plants that have been genetically modified to tolerate it. So a farmer can round up the weeds and let crops grow strongly. The Greens hate genetic modification. That's the Greens, the environmentalists. It's like blasphemy to them. So they go after genetic modification companies like Bayer, which makes Roundup. See what's happening here? A heavy dose of environmental politics. If the plaintiffs' bar can pin a cancer verdict on Roundup, they can take down the world's biggest gene modifier. And that's what they're doing. The jury, which awarded this $2 billion, evidently ignored both America's FDA and the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, which had studied the active ingredient in Roundup and considered it safe. The research, they said, does not show it causes cancer. The San Francisco jury said, yes, it does. No company should be financially ruined because a politicized court rejects science. The plaintiffs' lawyers chose San Francisco because they knew that activists of any stripe cannot lose in San Francisco. What happened here is a travesty of justice. Financial ruin for the maker of the world's most popular weed killer, and the lawyers walk away with a ton of money. They haven't made the world safer, they've made themselves rich.
If you were wondering just how far Fox News would go to prove how much they don't care about the planet, the answer is defending a chemical company whose products are giving people cancer. This is Fox News' Stuart Varney doing what Republicans do best, standing up for the little guy, a $66 billion chemical company called Monsanto, which you might know from monopolizing and then poisoning our food supply. Monsanto is owned by Bayer, a multinational pharmaceutical company, and if you're wondering about Bayer's motives, it is a company that makes drugs to treat cancer, which opted to purchase Monsanto, a company that makes chemicals that cause cancer. That is quite literally all you need to know about Bayer. And look, the right pretending that it cares about regular people while doing everything in its power to protect big business is nothing new. But to line up behind Monsanto, of all companies, is a new low. I'm not sure who in Varney's audience is at home cheering on the fact that finally, someone is standing up for Monsanto. And it's not that, as Varney claims, Greens, which is not what any environmentalists in the last decade called themselves, hate GMOs. It's that we hate it when a company's products cause non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. I don't think that's an off-base thing to get upset over. And notwithstanding Varney's angry rant that was more about his disdain for San Francisco than the facts of this case, his sources are tenuous at best and outright wrong at worst. He claimed that the UN scientific study found Roundup to be safe. That's not true. In 2015, a UN-sponsored scientific agency, the International Agency for Research on Cancer, did declare that Roundup, or glyphosate, is, quote, probably carcinogenic to humans. That finding caused Monsanto to launch a fierce bid to discredit the study, a strategy that was revealed through internal emails released as part of a lawsuit against the company. Monsanto proposed that they would ghostwrite a paper defending Roundup's safety and then recruit scientists to sign their names on it. Yeah, no, sounds safe to me. And beyond that, Varney cites the US FDA, which is a government agency. It's not some nonprofit run by scientists. It's under the political leadership of the Health and Human Services Secretary, who is appointed by the president. The current one, by the way, who is legally obese and on the diet of a 9-year-old. The FDA is not actually a legitimate authority on anything, and it's susceptible to lobbying just like any other agency in Washington. After the Fukushima nuclear power plant disaster in Japan, the US FDA simply raised what it considered a safe and acceptable level of radiation for consumption. Just like that. Or this FDA food pyramid claiming that Americans should eat 11 servings a day of rice, cereal, bread, and pasta, which I'm sure has nothing to do with the fact that cereal companies' lobbying efforts reach into the millions of dollars every year. Either way, eating 11 servings of carbs is a good way to make sure you are as unhealthy as possible. So yes, clearly the FDA in a country with an obesity rate of 40% is the premier authority on health. The fact is that Bayer, a company supposedly predicated on healthcare, bought Monsanto, a company known for not only using carcinogenic chemicals, but trying to cover that fact up. And now Bayer is stuck with Monsanto's bad decisions. And if that means massive payouts to people whose lives are literally being cut short because they opted to push dangerous chemicals onto the public, so be it. It's especially ironic that the pro-life crowd doesn't seem to mind when actual lives are knowingly put in danger at the hands of irresponsible and reckless businesses. Luckily, the courts do. And while you can't put a price on someone's life, these rulings are a pretty good place to start.